Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, one or two still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to Penguin Live Streaming. I would like to say a very big, warm Womanjika to Malal, or welcome to Phillip Island, and take this moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and any elders who may be here on site with us tonight or watching wherever you're tuning in from around the world. I would also ask you if you could put in the comments who the traditional custodians are of the land where you are visiting from. We'd love to read those comments. We'd love to know where everybody's looking in from, watching those lovely little penguins getting ready to cross the beach. Now, our penguins are not too far away. We're pretty excited to have everybody tuning in tonight. It's a bit of an interesting reason why we're tuning in tonight. We have a nature festival happening here in Victoria, where we're trying to encourage people to enjoy the spring and get out into nature. And we're showcasing some of the beautiful attractions that we have around Victoria, including our lovely little penguins that we have here on Phillip Island. Now, our penguins are not too far away. I'm actually going to see if I can see a raft. The water is very calm tonight, and we have been able to spot a couple of dark patches on the ocean out here. So in the comments, let me know if you can spot any rafts of penguins. Maybe you'll see them before I do. Right now, our penguins are maybe 100, 200 meters off the shore. They're getting ready to come home. They form up into a raft. A raft of penguins is a group of penguins. That's what we call a group of penguins when they're out on the ocean. And I think I can see some penguin rafts, maybe just out here. I'm going to try and zoom in. We'll see if the camera can manage to focus on these lovely little penguins for us tonight. But right in the middle of the screen, you might be able to see a dark patch on the water. It's hard for the camera to catch it in such low light, especially when it's trying to focus so far away. But there's a little dark patch on the water there. They're not too far away, which is really exciting. It's going to mean they're not too far away from coming onto land. Let's zoom out, because we're never sure if that's the first raft that's going to cross the beach or if there might be other rafts out there. So we'll wait until they come to the water's edge. What's going to happen tonight is we're going to be watching our penguins crossing this beautiful beach in front of us on Phillip Island and making their way home back to their burrows. It's a very exciting time of year, ladies and gentlemen. It's really the beginning of the breeding season. We've noticed a lot of breeding behavior among our penguins. I haven't yet seen any chicks wandering around, but there's always a chance that we'll spot the first chicks of the year. There's quite a few of our penguins that are starting to get into their courtship rituals, finding a partner for the season. A lot of penguins are making their burrows nice and comfy and making sure that they're cleaning up their burrows so they can attract a mate into them. Because no mate is really want to move in with a penguin in a messy burrow. They want it nice and tidy, nice and neat, so the little babies would have a comfortable place to grow up in. It's a bit exciting being back on the Penguin live streaming. It's been a long time since we've hosted one of these, but occasionally we do host these events or these live streams for special events that are happening. Maybe International Penguin Day, or like we have right now, the Nature Festival happening here in Victoria, where we encourage everybody to get out, enjoy the beautiful nature that we have around this wonderful state of ours. And as we're looking across this beautiful coastline, I really do enjoy appreciating the beautiful place that I get to work in almost every night. Here on Phillip Island, we are lucky enough that the Phillip Island Nature Parks is a very passionate conservation organization. We're working to cover about 20% of Phillip Island and care for it and protect it for all of the native flora and fauna that we have here. Not just our little penguins are under our care, but all of the beautiful animals that we have here, like our endangered eastern barred bandicoots, which are doing very well in terms of numbers. We also have our wonderful Cape Barren geese. A couple of black swans have been seen around the penguin parade the last few days. And I have to tell you, I had a really fun encounter with, I shouldn't say fun, a really, I guess, exciting encounter with some black swans in the not too distant past. It was this week, I believe, where I saw a couple of swans with their baby cygnets wandering around, and they fell into a penguin burrow. And the mama and daddy swans were honking and hissing and wanting to get their babies out. So I had to jump over the fence, reach down, and grab a couple of little baby cygnets out of a hole, all the while terrified that a swan was going to attack me as I was trying to protect their babies. But luckily, both the cygnets are fine, no harm done, and mama and daddy swan were not too aggressive with me. They let me know they didn't appreciate me getting too close to their babies, but they kept their distance, and I didn't come out any worse for wear. All right, I thought I saw penguins around here. I'm trying to talk and watch for penguins. Let me know if you see penguins at the water's edge. I thought I saw a raft swimming in. Oh, there they are. Just in front of us down here. Let's see if I can spot them. Our first little raft has made it to the water's edge. Pretty exciting. Now, while we're watching these questions, I do have the comments section open above me so I can read your comments. Please let me know if you have any questions tonight. I'll do my best trying to look at both the penguins on the screen as well as the comments that you guys are putting up on Facebook or YouTube. We do appreciate your questions. I do love going back and reading all the comments I get on the night. Now, this is a pretty small group of penguins. When they're on land, a group of penguins is not called a raft anymore. Doesn't really make sense. It doesn't apply when they're on land. Officially, they're just called a group of penguins when they're on land, but we love to affectionately call them a waddle of penguins, the grouping name for penguins when they're on land. Apologies to any biologist out there who takes offense to that. It's not the official grouping name, but it is the unofficial group name for our penguins when they're on land, is a waddle of penguins. I'm seeing a lot of people giving me a very warm welcome, saying huck huck in the comments. It's great to see that. During our live streams in the past, we would always greet each other with a huck in the comments, because that's how our penguins are talking to each other out on the ocean. When they're trying to form up into those rafts of penguins, they're hucking, a very short, sharp sound, a huck, 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 huck. They make that sound on the ocean. Oh my goodness, there's a very big raft behind them. These ones would be making a whole lot of noise out on the ocean. And that hucking sound lets them find each other. It's basically a locator sound out on the water. We might not be able to see each other if there's very large waves, but the sound will travel very well over water. And they stay in a nice big group. So it's a nice grouping greeting for penguins. All right, we have Carrie who's counting our penguins tonight. I've asked her to send through the first group's numbers as they cross the beach. Oh, and if you have any guesses under that first little group, she's already given me the numbers for that first little group. I don't think it's fair to really announce that one over the airwaves because there's a much bigger group in the background. I think it'd be more fun for us to try and count that large group in the background. And recently we've been getting roughly about 1,500 penguins, sometimes up to 2,000 penguins coming home on a night. We'll see if we're going to get that many tonight. We've got a very nice big group to start the night with. So it could get some good numbers tonight. I always have high hopes that we're going to get lots of penguins. But of course, we can never predict how many penguins are going to come home. Our penguins have the ability to sleep out on the ocean. Oh, somebody's on the shoulders above there. A very excited child riding on somebody's shoulders. It's great to have people back visiting the Penguin Parade in person. Love to encourage you all to come back, see our penguins in person. They are quite beautiful, and the breeding season is always a very exciting time of year. But as I was saying, not all of our penguins come home every night. They can sleep on the ocean, and they can spend a long time on the water. Usually around this time of year, we're not expecting very long trips out because it's the beginning of the breeding season. They're getting ready to come home. They're getting ready to starting a family. And if they're too long out on the ocean, if they've attracted, let's say, a potential partner for the night, a wife for the night, then they're not coming home for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. She's going to get a little bit lonely. She's going to find a new partner somewhere else. Our penguins do not mate for life, but they do like to mate for the seasons. Oh, wonderful. So our first little group has crossed the beach, and you can see there's a bit of a pond left over, not really deep enough for our penguins to swim in. We've been getting quite a bit of rain here on Phillip Island over the last month or so, and I would say this is just the remnants of our previous rain. And this used to be a torrential waterfall going down onto the beach. The penguins were having a hard time. Most of them didn't even bother trying to swim up the waterfall. They were walking around it. Anybody who did get trapped in the waterfall was washed out into the beach, sometimes washed back out to sea. All right, I'm just going to radio through to Carrie. Oh, I think she just gave it through. She just let me know. I think she said 263 for that big group. Oh, that's exciting. That's a really good number to start off the night with. And our penguins are going around. You can see all of the wonderful visitors down here. Excited to see the penguins. And I have to tell you, it's been so fantastic seeing people coming back from overseas again. How wonderful is it that the world is getting back to a sense of normalcy, where people can travel, people can come and do things that they've been having on their bucket list for a long time. And our penguins are on the bucket list for quite a few people. I've been having the pleasure of meeting people who've watched the live TV or the live streaming over the last year or two, coming up and saying they recognize me, happy to meet me. It's just been fantastic. Let me swap the cameras around. There we go. We've got our beautiful penguins racing past. Oh, they're in a hurry tonight. I've missed viewing in penguins in this angle. And off they go, off into the distance. there is no hesitation in getting home. A lot of our penguins are really eager to get home. They might have a partner waiting for them at home. They might even have eggs waiting for them at home. Quite a few of our penguins are sitting on eggs already. And we've seen quite a few of our penguins, the ones we call shell gritters, heading down to the beach as well. Let's swap back to the main beach. And let's see if there's any more penguins that are about to cross the beach. Oh, in the top left corner, there's actually a large group down here. And above my head, I can also see a group of penguins racing past the underground camera, as we call it. We call it the underground camera because it's right next to the underground viewing. A great place to see our penguins. All right, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many were in that last group. It's another big one. I think we're going to have really good penguin numbers again tonight. All right, I've been forgetting to read the comments. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls. I'm not sure if we've had any questions. How many do I think are going to come in tonight? Oh, I think I had a guess already. We have a lottery every night with all the rangers to see how many penguins are going to cross the beach. And I think I put about 3,000 penguins were going to cross the beach tonight. I'm a very optimistic guesser. I always like to choose the largest numbers. That way, if we get a really good night, nobody's upset that I've won the chocolate bar. That's my philosophy. Well, let's see if I can catch these penguins racing by. My goodness, they're in a hurry tonight. My camera can't keep up with them. And they're already off down the track. These penguins are really eager to get home. That's just fantastic. And there they go. I love the penguin bums waddling their way down. How many penguins did we have in group 2? I don't think Carrie sent that through, but it was about 200 again. What's tonight's chocolate bar is always a good guess. Tonight's chocolate bar is a Kit Kat, which is one of my favorites. So I'm going to enjoy my Kit Kat tonight if I happen to win. I'm always optimistic that I'm going to win every night. I think there's going to be lots of penguins. And do I have any new poop stories? No, I did get pooped on by a swan though. I guess that's a new poop story, but I shouldn't say a swan, a cygnet. I think I surprised them when I pulled them out of the penguin burrow, and it's always, I guess, a sign of appreciation, knowing that they've been saved. They leave me a little gift behind that I get to enjoy. I was unfortunately working that night, so I had an unclean uniform, which is just part of being a ranger here, and it does give me a chance to spread more poo stories to all of the visitors who get to come here to the Penguin Parade. Lots of guesses for how many penguins are going to come home tonight. I hope we can actually, let's swap the cameras. I'm hoping we can put that in the comments, maybe tonight or tomorrow, the total number of penguins that crosses the beach tonight. But wow, we're getting some nice big groups coming home. This is an ideal time of year to come to the Penguin Parade. The breeding season's always a very exciting time of year. The penguins are very energetic. There's a lot happening in the colony. There's a lot of courtship happening. There's a lot of fighting happening between the males. There's a lot of mating happening in the colony. And if you bring your kids, be prepared to answer some interesting questions. All right, let's see if there's any more penguins crossing the beach. Ooh, a little group hesitating just here on the edge of the wet sand, getting ready to make their way. Much smaller group. Lots of questions. People wondering when are we going to be streaming next. Honestly, I don't know the answer of when we will be streaming next, but stay tuned to our Facebook pages. We tend to put all of those informations on there. So you should hopefully get a nice little notification. I love these questions. Any Stumpy sightings lately? I personally haven't seen Stumpy for a while, but that doesn't mean to say he's not doing just fine. I haven't been keeping my eye out for Stumpy, not since the last time we did the live stream. Do we want any rescue jumpers knitted for our penguins? Now, you may have heard stories about penguin jumpers that you can make for our penguins. And if you are skilled at knitting, we do have a knitting pattern, I believe, on our website, or it might be on the Penguin Foundation's website. That's our charity organization. There should be a link in the description for the Penguin Foundation. And you might be able to find a pattern for penguin jumpers there. And it's very important that you knit the right type of jumper for our penguins, because anything that's the wrong size, we can't use it for our penguins. It simply doesn't help them. But our penguin jumpers, they're made for penguins who may be potentially covered in oil. Because when a penguin does get covered in oil, they come home and they try to clean themselves. And the way a penguin will clean themselves is by preening their feathers with their beak, which means they sometimes accidentally swallow the oil. And even a tiny amount of oil that they get into their mouths and into their belly can be fatal. So as soon as we see penguins that are covered in oil, we quickly grab them before they can preen themselves. We put a jumper over top of their heads, over their bodies, and they don't manage to clean their feathers. We will clean their feathers for them and make sure they leave happy and healthy. All right. Any sign of Bluey, our penguin in the burrow? Let's see if I can get that camera up. Not sure. I might need the other camera for this one to be coming up. Let's see if I can get the burrow camera up. I don't think I can. I think we changed it a little bit, so I can't get that camera up. I haven't seen Bluey too recently. I can tell you that they have been around. Bluey is a penguin in our live burrow, where if you go to, I believe our YouTube channel has a constant stream of Bluey. Affectionately, that's the name we've given to that penguin. And they will be showing them live anytime they're home. The last time I saw Bluey, and I think there's a post on Facebook about it, he was having a bit of a fight from a home invader. Another male penguin decided to try and move in with his partner, and a little bit of a kerfuffle. But no dramas there. Bluey managed to keep his burrow. Let's get going. Oh, any issues with the fox? Kate asks on Facebook. We did have a potential issue with a fox in the not too distant past. We had a single fox that did cross our bridge and come onto the island. I believe it was a young male fox. We did catch the fox. It took us a couple of months because foxes are very clever, but we did manage to finally get the fox and leave it off the island. Get it off the island. We didn't want him hanging around. He'd been spotted killing a few chickens, and a bit of a dangerous thing to have a fox on the island, because when they get into a penguin colony, it can be devastating. Somebody saw a bandicoot? Oh, I didn't see a bandicoot. I'll have to keep my eyes open, but there are bandicoots around. They're getting quite active this time of year. And talk about a large group of penguins. My goodness. I'm sorry you missed this one. I wish we could have seen this one crossing the beach. That would have been an adventure. Just barreling their way through the pond, making their way home. Do we need blankets for the penguins? Penny asks. We don't need blankets for our penguins. They're perfectly capable of keeping themselves warm. In fact, penguins are very well adapted at keeping themselves warm, even in very cold temperatures. I'm sure you're all aware of the penguins down in Antarctica who managed to survive the most ridiculously cold temperatures. Our penguins, they don't have to suffer through those minus 40s and 50s and minus 60 degree days. They have to deal with heat. Our penguins might be susceptible to heat exhaustion in the summertime, so they don't need blankets. Sometimes they might need an ice pack. All right, let's swap over to the underground camera again, the highway camera. Let's see if we can follow this wonderful group going by. Just beautiful little penguins waddling their way home. Flippers out to the side for a bit of balance. Oh, never get tired of seeing these beautiful penguins on their journey home. All right. Just scrolling around, seeing if I can find any more questions. Not too many. Some people asking about the goose. Bruce the goose, I believe is what we called him. We have quite a few geese around. They've been breeding like crazy, our geese. Lots of goslings that were noticed this last breeding season for them. So they're doing quite well, our geese. I haven't seen them attack any of our penguins yet. But that's not to say they're not doing it. They definitely tend to get a bit aggressive if Mama Goose thinks a penguin is getting a little too close to its babies. Oh, we've got another group coming in front of the highway camera. For those penguins that do not return home, where do they spend the night? Great question. Our penguins can sleep on the ocean. They don't come home every night, and because that's where their food is out on the ocean. So if they're still hungry, they didn't manage to catch enough fish out there, they are going to stay on the ocean, sleep on the ocean overnight, and not a big sleep. It's not one long sleep. They have lots and lots of little sleeps. Penguins only sleep for 4 minutes at a time, 4 minutes or less. They're very short sleepers, which means that if they fall asleep out on the ocean, they are not in so much danger of being caught by a predator. Quick sleep, well, they'll wake up after they're done sleeping and they keep diving underwater. Or if they're out overnight on the ocean, they're able to keep an eye out for any potential late night predators. Although there's probably not too many predators out on the ocean overnight. Any shell gritters? Yeah, there's definitely some shell gritters in the colony. We'll see if we can spot some tonight. Oh, I can see one on the highway camera. I'm going to swap over. Let's get this highway camera going. Hard to see this one now that they're in the dark, now that she's in the dark. One lonely mother making her way down to the beach. She is a female with an egg. So I like to call them pregnant females, although biologically speaking, if you're a bird, you don't get pregnant. But they're a female with an egg, and they're coming down to the beach for some shell grit that's in the sand. So when a mother is about to lay her egg, she becomes a bit calcium deficient. All of the calcium that's in her body is really being put into the egg's development. And because she's calcium deficient, she gets a bit of pregnancy cravings. She comes down to the beach and starts finding tiny pieces of shell in the sand. And she'll gobble down those pieces of shell and hopefully absorb some of the calcium to replenish her deficiencies. Uh-oh, is the sound dipping in and out? Let me know if you're having any sound issues. I can try and alter it. Getting lots of guesses for how many penguins you think are going to be coming home, which is just fantastic. You are cheating a little bit because you've already seen some of the groups already crossing the beach. And here, that's another big group. I think we're going to have good numbers again tonight. No sound issues? Great. I'm glad to hear it. If you're having sound issues on YouTube, feel free to pop over to our Facebook page. It sounds like people on Facebook are able to hear me nice and clear. Well, maybe not everybody, but we'll see. If you're having issues, I do apologize. It's been a long time since we've had the live stream going, so we're never sure if the technology is going to be running as smoothly as we would like. Bit of a stammer for you on the sound. That could be a network issue, but I'm not going to try and troubleshoot your computer tonight. Hopefully you're able to hear me, and at the very least, hopefully you can enjoy the penguins. And lots of people are asking how are the people who did the live streaming. Everybody's well. Sky is back at work. Her little one is doing very well. Jordan has found a kind of a dream job working in conservation areas around Victoria. So unfortunately, you won't see Jordan doing any more live streams, and we do miss her dearly, but kind of excited for her to be doing her dream jobs. Megan is still around. I was trying to peer pressure into helping me tonight, but she's a bit busy with other work as well. Couple of shell gritters coming down. It's almost a mother's group. Oh, they're getting mobbed by a group of penguins. Which way are you going, ladies? Oh, one of them got swept off in the distance. Let's see if she does a U-turn. Peer pressure is a tough thing when you're a penguin. You want to go with the flow. Looks like she's happily going down there. I'm going to swap back over to the beach and see if there's any more big groups. Ooh, there's a nice group out there in the distance. It's a very, very low tide. Chris, you have a very optimistic guess of penguins tonight, 25,000. That would be over half of our total number of penguins here on Phillip Island. And I can tell you that we don't get half of the penguins crossing on this one beach. So you might want to guess a little bit lower than that. Maybe you meant 2,500? That would be a good guess, I think. All right. Everybody's, not everybody, a lot of people are asking for a lights out night tonight. We'll see how we go. I have noticed that recently the penguin numbers have been taking a very drastic dive after about half an hour into the count. And I don't want everybody to be bored waiting for a group of 2 penguins to cross the beach, but we'll go as long as it keeps being interesting and exciting. And if you do come down to see our penguins in person, you're always welcome to stay until lights out. It's a pretty fun thing to do around here. The longer you spend at the penguin parade, the more penguins you will see crossing the beach, and the more penguins you'll see in the colony. All right, let's zoom in on this lovely group of penguins. I was planning on having a look around the colony to see if we can see any potential courtship happening or any interesting behaviors. Unfortunately, I haven't been working over at the Penguins Plus stand, which is the stand where this camera is located. So I'm not sure if there's any partners out there. I'm not sure if there's any, well, even if there's any chicks out there. But we'll have a bit of a look around and maybe your eyes can spot them. People do remember my dad jokes. Simon wants to hear a dad joke. I think I've told most of the dad jokes I had. I think I pretty much used every single dad joke I had on one of my live streams. But I do like the why did the penguin cross the road? To prove it was no chicken. I do miss Tom being in here with me. He always had a very appropriate groan every time I told a bad joke. Penny's asking, when do you expect chicks? Pretty much now. There's no exact timing on when we expect to see chicks. Roughly when the eggs are laid, it takes just over a month for the chicks to hatch from the eggs. Lots of groans in the comment. I appreciate that. So it does take them just over a month to hatch, and we've seen quite a few eggs in the colony. I'm not sure when the first eggs were spotted, but I can tell you that it won't be long before we start seeing chicks. But let's have a look around into the bushes, into the colony. Got some penguins. Ooh, trying to use the joystick again after so long is a bit challenging. One little penguin there. Going up the hillside. Again, because we've been getting so much rain, the grass is really lush, really green. You might not even be able to notice that there's penguins hiding in the grass back here. A soon-to-be mother making her way down the hill. A little shell gritter making her way. A single penguin heading up the hill. Oh, and a whole lot of penguins on the Penguin Highway. Fantastic. Now, after these eggs hatch, roughly after a month of laying the eggs, they roughly hatch, and then it takes about 9 weeks on average for the babies to grow up and get ready to fledge. I'm loving some of the jokes I'm seeing here. Well, that's a good one. Why did the penguin blush? It saw the tide changing. I like that joke. I'm going to use that on my next tour that I do. So feel free to book one of our tours. If you're lucky to get me on the tour, I've definitely stolen a joke. Beautiful joke. I love that one. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to change back to this camera. Now our penguins, as I said, their numbers will start to drop very soon, but they haven't dropped yet. Maybe they have. Oh, looks like there's not much happening out on the beach. A few penguins in the distance down here. You might have a hard time seeing them. It's so dark. The tide is so low that it's difficult for our mast lights to really light up the beach, and we don't have a moon tonight. The moon is below the horizon, so we'd have a hard time seeing any of these penguins from so far away. All right, fantastic. We'll swap back over to the highway camera. I love these up close and personal shots with our penguins. They're looking around, keeping an eye out left and right. Oh, geez, you guys are fast. We're just having a grand old time, making their way back to their burrows. And here you can see plenty of shell gritters are making their way down to the beach. Will on YouTube's asking, how can you donate to the penguins? There should be a link in the description. Hopefully on YouTube and Facebook, for the Penguin Foundation. That's our charity organization. And they do help to fund a lot of the work. You can adopt, I believe you can adopt an animal, adopt a penguin or adopt a koala or a bandicoot, a symbolic kind of adoption. But all those proceeds do go into helping our wonderful animals we have here. Oh, I love these jokes. Peggy with a great joke on Facebook about why you should never write a book on penguins, because writing a book on paper is a lot easier. Classic. I love it. But there is a very, very prolific penguin author in our colony, written thousands upon thousands of books. I'd love to meet him. I think he's one of the best writers I've ever read. Oh, beautiful seeing our lovely penguins all over. I'm trying my best to get the camera into focus. It's always a challenge when the sun goes down. Vida is asking, how many chicks do they have when they're having chicks? There's always, I should say, always 2 eggs. So the mother will develop the first egg inside of her body for, it's roughly 2.5 weeks that the mother will be developing that egg inside of her. She'll lay that egg, and then the second egg takes about a day afterwards before it gets laid, which means that there's always 2 eggs, but one egg gets a bit of a head start on the other one. So if it's a bit of a bad year for our penguins in terms of fish out in the ocean, or maybe they're a bit unlucky and not able to catch enough food, it does make choosing which one will survive a little bit easier. being that it is nature, these are some of the difficult choices that our penguins do have to make. But because of the head start one of the chicks gets, it does make it a little bit easier for mom and dad to know which one to feed first. They always feed the strongest one first. Oh, people are wondering if there's wallabies or racallies around. I did see a racallie when the pond was a little bit fuller, but I haven't seen one for a while. Racallie is a water rat, basically. Oh, Kate is asking, what do you do if you ever find an injured penguin or a lost chick? Injured penguins, we do take them to our wildlife clinic. We will take care of them as best we can. I'm a wildlife first aider, which means that I can take a penguin that I see is injured in the penguin colony. Maybe it has a broken leg, maybe it has an entanglement or a cut or something that's happened to injured it. I can take it to our wildlife clinic, admit them, give them a bit of painkillers, and in the morning, somebody who is more qualified than I am will be able to look after them with greater care. As for lost chicks, we generally leave them be in the burrow. Mom and dad can leave the chicks at home alone for a long time, well, for a few days anyways. And they typically do that when the chicks get older. So we'll leave those chicks in the colony, leave them in the burrow because mom and dad could be coming back tonight. We don't want to take them away from their mom and dad. Carly is asking, how tall can our penguins get? They're on average around 33 centimeters tall, which is just around a foot in height, just over a foot in height. And they weigh about 1 kilogram, or just over 2 pounds. Some of these penguins, the chunky ones, they weigh quite a bit more than 1 kilogram. But it's good to be a big penguin, because if you're a big penguin, it means you're catching a lot of fish. You're a very happy, healthy penguin. Yeah, they're not in such a rush anymore. These guys seem to just be chilling here on the highway. Oh, it's a mother's group. There we go. Making their way down to the beach. Tyler on YouTube's asking, how do you spot or how do we count them? We do have a ranger, 2 rangers, in fact, who are dedicated to counting our penguins. One of the rangers does count the vast majority of the penguins. The other one looks in the other direction and counts a single pathway that they cross. But you may have noticed that our penguins are crossing in groups. So we count how many are in each group, and then we write down that number once they cross the beach, and then we count the next group. And we just add up the groups at the end of the night. We have been counting penguins this way since 1968. And our penguin count is maybe not 100% accurate, but it's a very, very good estimate. Rebecca is asking, how long do penguins live for? I always like to answer that by saying our oldest penguin was about 26 years old, but the average age is around 7. So many good dad jokes in the comments. I love them. Lewis and Iris are asking, can penguins drink seawater? Absolutely. Penguins can drink seawater. They've got a little desalination plant in their head where any salt water that they do consume gets the salt gets extracted, and they sneeze out these salty boogers to get rid of it. So if you ever see a penguin sneeze and you see little white specks flying away, they're just getting rid of the salt from their face. All right. Looks like the numbers are definitely getting lower. We're going to spend a little bit of time in the colony looking around to see what our penguins are up to. We got 3 little penguins down here. Social distancing. Not sure if any of them are a paired partner. Probably not. There's 4 penguins there. One's hiding behind the bush. If there was a couple of males in this group, I'm sure there'd be a little bit more fighting going on. They're awfully close to each other, and the males, they get a little bit upset if another male is too close. They like to mark their territory. All right, penguins going up the hill. Oh, what is the diet? What do our penguins eat? Our penguins are carnivores. Mainly they eat fish, small fish, anchovies, pilchard. Baby fish can be on the menu for them. Anything that's small enough for them to swallow whole. They're not really good at chewing their food, being that they don't have teeth. They can eat squid, and we've even observed our penguins eating jellyfish. All right. I'm going to have to go back through all these comments and just appreciate all the dad jokes. Just fantastic. All right, it's a bit hard to see these penguins here up the hill. Oh, I did a quick change there. Sorry if that gave you motion sickness. But it looks like it might be time to wrap things up. There's not many more penguins coming. You've seen lots and lots of shell gritters coming down to the beach. I think most of the penguins that are on the sand are in fact the mothers groups heading down to the beach. I'd say a lot of these penguins here are likely the shell gritters, hopping around the rocks, looking for tiny pieces of shell that they can swallow whole. Bit of fantastic. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in to the live stream again tonight. It's so heartwarming to know that so many people enjoy the live stream and tune in when we have them from time to time. Hopefully you'll be tuning in with us next time we do a live stream. And once again, we'd encourage you to maybe get out into nature this spring. Enjoy the beautiful sceneries that we have here, especially around Victoria or wherever you may be tuning into. We're passionate about the environment, and we want everybody that's tuning in to be passionate about the environment. We would love for you to get out into it, because there's no better way to enjoy nature than by getting out into it. And if I could ask one favor, next time you're in nature, maybe take a bag with you where if you see any rubbish, you can pick it up and put it in a bin on your walk while you're enjoying nature. We can all do our part to help out the environment, help out clean up the nature so more people get to enjoy it in the future. A very simple gesture, and it might not be world changing when you're just picking up a few bits of rubbish off the path, but if enough of us do it, it can change the world. And if everybody was going out and picking up little bits here and there, what a difference it would make to our world. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in again. Really appreciate you all tuning in, enjoying the penguins with us. I hope to see you here at the Penguin Parade in the near future. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great night. Huck, 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 huck.